So if we're talking about a low carbon economy and how to incentivize a low carbon economy, you can really look at two different ways. You can raise the cost of carbon pollution, or you can lower the cost of renewable energy sources. Let's look at both of those. Raising the cost of carbon pollution, and that could be done through a carbon tax or a cap and trade system, which is being debated right now in America. And cap and trade basically means that you're going to reduce your carbon footprint while at the same time purchasing approved offsets in areas that you can't reduce your carbon footprint. So for instance, your company A and company B next door is able to cut their carbon footprint by a whole lot. And you do your measures, your best efforts, and you can only reduce by a certain amount. And that company next door might have some approved credits that you can actually purchase, whereas it basically allows you to continue to pollute. Now, of course, there are arguments against this in terms of companies like Fox News Corp, for instance, who claims that they'll be carbon neutral by 2010, but they're not really reporting any actual data in terms of their output of carbon and how they plan on reducing it. So it's widely suspected that when they go carbon neutral in 2010, they're really just going to be purchasing offsets from other companies. It's really not going to impact the day-to-day business operations at News Corp. So that remains to be seen, and we'll see that play out. The other option is to lower the cost of renewable energy through government subsidies of clean energy alternatives. Look at solar and wind investments, for instance. These subsidies have been very helpful in terms of spurring on technology, especially in the past, where government policies have decidedly favored corporation and carbon polluters. So by giving a subsidy for investing in clean technology, it really has helped kind of shine a little light during the dark ages, I like to say. However, there are some leading economists, including Gilbert Metcalf at Tufts University, who I have a lot of respect for, who just wrote an article presenting 4 strong arguments against government subsidies that I think are worth looking into a little deeper right now. His 4 arguments are that, number 1, an artificial lowering of the cost of energy is not sustainable. That subsidies play favorites with technology, subsidies are often wasteful, and they also interact in unexpected ways with other policies. So let's look at each one of those individually. If you are giving a subsidy to lower the cost of energy in renewable areas, you're really not offering a sustainable solution, because you're lowering something artificially where actually energy costs what it costs. And as a society, whether you're an individual or a corporation, and you're making decisions based on energy costs, a true number, a true cost would be essential in actually planning long-term business strategy and living strategy. Part 2, plays favorites with technology. Take the Ford Hybrid with the $3,000 credit versus a Toyota Prius with a $0 credit. Now, both of these hybrids have low fuel mileage. I mean, they get high mileage, low emissions. However, the government is favoring Ford because it's an American company, and it's punishing Toyota because the sale of the Prius is very popular and consumers are buying it anyway. So basically, a fair standard would award a manufacturer of a car with high fuel efficiency regardless of what company that was or where it was based. Number 3, subsidies are often wasteful. Sometimes companies will qualify for subsidies even for doing things that they would have done anyway without the government involvement. So in that case, if they're getting the subsidy and they were going to do it anyway, it's a waste of dollars. Perhaps the best argument is that subsidies interact in unexpected ways with other policies. So if we look at the CAFE standards, corporate average fuel economy standards, for instance, versus the hybrid tax credits, you can see what he's talking about here. So you've got a tax credit for hybrid cars that encourages the production of high fuel efficiency vehicles. However, if you're a corporation producing those vehicles, you're going to get a credit for producing a fleet of hybrid cars that's basically going to lower that decrease the mileage constraint on your CAFE standards for your low efficiency cars. So basically, by creating hybrids in one area, you're going to have your CAFE standards lowered in the other area so that you can actually produce more of the polluting vehicles as well. And what you have as a result is a decreased tax collection from the government with no improvement at all in actual mileage. So that's really a bad policy. So here's Green Media Consulting's solution on the low carbon incentives. Although it might be argued that not enough attention is being paid to removing the various subsidies currently in place, because the laws and the policies of the industrial age have decidedly favored carbon polluters, and these laws and policies are only now beginning to change, I feel that it's really important that we still continue these investments and credits for clean, renewable, alternative energy sources at the same time that we look at changing some of those laws, so in the long run we can have fair policy. And it looks like we're headed towards cap and trade or some kind of a carbon tax, and I think that's a very good thing for our economy, and it's a very good thing for the incentive of a low carbon economy.